Hi there, my name is Guidry. I'm a wedding photographer based out of New Orleans, and in this episode, I'm going to be sharing with you one of my top favorite business tools and communication apps. Before we dive into the content, I want to let you know that if you are a wedding photographer and you're looking to better your pricing or your posing, be sure to download one of our free guides below. Okay, so whether you are purely a business owner, a creative, or someone in the wedding photography industry, I wanted to share this app with you. I am in no way affiliated with Voxer, but I love this app so much that I wanted to create a YouTube video about why I find it incredibly beneficial for groups. The way that I'm using my Voxer currently is to primarily communicate with groups. One of the groups that I'm in is a mastermind of creative professionals. I was also previously in 2 separate Voxer groups with photographers. And so if you're looking for an app to help you easily connect with a few people at a time, Voxer is it. Although you can pay for a paid version of the app, you can also use it completely free. The only difference is that if you're using the paid versus the free version, you can recall a message, which means that if you record something and then maybe you mess up or it went on too long and you want to delete it, you can just simply tap it and recall that message. The users in the group will see that the message has been recalled, but they can no longer retrieve that audio message. So I always sort of describe Voxer as if iMessage and a walkie-talkie came together and had a baby. I think it is actually a walkie-talkie app, but you can still treat it like iMessage where you can text the users in the group, but you can also leave audio messages. And so you might be wondering, well, I can do that in iMessage. We can do that in a group text. Why would we all move over to Voxer? Trust me, I thought the same thing, but there are so many benefits. The first one being that everything that happens in Voxer happens outside of your text messages. And so when you're using your phone, you're not pulling up a text message thread of like 80 text messages that are blended in with all of your personal messages. It's almost like separating out your business and your personal expenses. It's just really nice to have Voxer in the background. One of my favorite features about Voxer is that we can usually listen faster than someone can talk. So in the same way that as you're listening to YouTube videos, you can adjust the playback speed, you cannot do this with iMessages, as of now at least. When you go into Voxer, if someone sent you an audio message in the group, you can speed up that audio message to even ×4 speed of what they were speaking. And we all have a different cadence, and I really love that for my slower speaking friends, I can speed up their Vox, and for my faster speaking friends, I can slow down. And so that's a really cool feature inside of Voxer. I don't know if you guys have ever been recording an audio message for someone and a phone call comes through and it gets cut off. That is one of my biggest pet peeves. In Voxer, it is the coolest thing. If you tap your walkie-talkie, which there's actually a tap to talk feature, so you don't have to hold it down. So when you tap to talk, if a call comes through, it stops the recording. It doesn't delete the recording, it just stops it right where it is. So that all the other users that were listening, they can actually still listen to everything up until the point when the call came through. Just in the way that that message was stopped, I love that in Voxer, you can stop messages, you can play messages, you can drag them to rewind and fast forward. I can't tell you the number of times where I've been halfway through a Vox and I stop it because a phone call comes through or I need to tend to something in my inbox. When I come back into Voxer, I can press play and that audio message that I was listening to will pick up exactly where I left off. It is amazing. Because the groups that I'm in have typically more than 1 or 2 people inside of them, inside of Voxer, listening to the audio messages is really cool. What happens is that, say I open up Voxer and there's 12 audio messages that in total are about 15 minutes. That's kind of crazy to think about. But like I said, you can stop, you can play, you can fast forward or speed it up. But if those audio messages are from different people, one of the coolest things that Voxer does is it plays the audio messages continuously. So say there was a topic of conversation and people were volleying back and forth on audio. I can hit play on that first audio message and it goes back and forth to every single member as they were talking in the group, and I don't even have to touch my phone. In fact, I can sit on the side of me and I'm working, I'm listening to all the audio messages as if it was a podcast. fast. It is the coolest thing. And then once I get to the end and I'm all caught up, then I can tap to talk and contribute to the conversation. When you're talking live in the app, it will show that, your audio bar actually is green. When people are listening to it, you can see that they're listening to it at that time. So that's really cool too, because I can know that, okay, so-and-so from the group is listening to my Vox right now, and they can give real-time comments as I'm talking. So because you can do both text and audio, if I'm leaving an audio message and someone's listening to it live, I can keep talking and they can text as I'm talking, almost like if we were on the phone. It is so neat. And then of course, whoever is unable to listen live at that time, they can still go back and listen to the audio later. And then when they scroll down, they'll see the conversation that person was having with me while I was talking. So I know that one's a little bit trickier to explain. It's one of those things you might have to actually experience, but just the fact that you can see who's listening when they're listening to it, that they can comment real time, and that you can have those real time conversations without actually having to get on the phone. There's no delay. There's no, interruptions with phone calls and all of that. Like, it truly is one of those apps that is so quick paced, but also can be minimized in the background. And speaking of minimizing it in the background, I love that if someone's leaving a longer Vox, maybe something in the neighborhood of like 8 to 10 minutes, that's a pretty long audio message to listen to. But what Voxer allows you to do is swipe up on the app. It doesn't close out the app and it doesn't stop the audio. So when they're talking, you can still hear them, but you can look into other apps on your phone. If you are editing a photo in the Photos app, or, sorting through imagery on your phone, things that don't take a lot of thought, you can still do those things while listening to the audio from Voxer, and I really love that feature. If you've ever experienced this with iMessage, you cannot close out iMessage without closing out the actual audio file. And that's pretty frustrating because you want to listen to whatever your friends have to say, but if you close out the app, or even if a call comes through, you have to start over from the very beginning. And so this is a really great feature to be able to minimize it in the background and still listen while you're doing work. Even if you have the app open and you didn't close it, if someone just buzzes in and your phone's open to the app, you'll hear it as soon as it comes through. So that's happened before. I'm like, oh, I didn't realize it was still open. I mean, they can't hear you unless you're tapping to talk, but you can hear the audio message as soon as it comes through if the app is still open. Just in the same way that in iMessage you can send photos and videos, you can do that through Voxer. You can take real-time photos, you can upload them from your phone. And I also really like to use Voxer for myself. I have a thread open to myself only, and I take audio notes inside of Voxer. If there's a thought process or something that I'm thinking through, it's almost like an audio diary. And then I can go back later on and listen to that audio. Sometimes even if I have an idea for YouTube or something that I want to talk about, I'll leave a note for myself in Voxer, and then I can go back and listen to it after the fact. Overall, Voxer has been amazing and so much faster for collaborations and conversations. Now that I'm a mom, I feel like time has really become slim and I have to be so much more efficient with things, but I also still want to enjoy these beautiful conversations happening with groups, masterminds, other photographers, even the people that I'm so blessed to work with here in the business. We'll coordinate sometimes and communicate through Voxer, and it is really cool to even be able to hear their voices. So I really hope you check this app out. At this point, I don't have an affiliate code or anything like that. I'll do a little digging to see if there's any coupons or savings that we can share. But regardless, I really think that this is an app you should look into using for your teams, for your groups, and I hope that you enjoy it. I appreciate you listening. If you found this content helpful, especially if you're a photographer looking to level up in your business, be sure to subscribe, and I will see you in the next episode. Bye.